Hi everybody, it's VanDusen, and today I'm going to talk to you about 6 questions that designers have to be prepared to answer. So I'm coming to you today from St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I'm on vacation, but I wanted to record a video and talk about 6 things that a designer needs to be able to answer when they're dealing with clients. So the first question a client might ask you is, why do you want to work with me? So essentially, what's your motivation? What is it about that client that makes you want to take on that job? Now, your answer inside yourself might just be, I need the money. But when it comes down to it, you're going to really have to think about your motivation is to work with that client. Why do you want to take on that work? And what is it that you think that you can do for that client? And you're going to have to be prepared to be able to communicate that to the client. Is there something about their business? Is there something about the design of their branding that you think could be improved? Is there something about the communication of their brand that you could think could be more powerful, and that you're just the person to do that, improve that, create that for that client? The second question is workload. The client's going to ask you, what's your workload? And you're going to have to think about how much work you have on your plate right now, whether that's self-directed work or work you have for other clients, and whether you have time to take on this job. And if you do, what's the timeline of that work going to be? So you have to be prepared to talk about the calendar of when you're going to be delivering different pieces or phases of that work for the client. So be prepared to talk about your calendar and what kind of room you have to take on that work, so the client can feel comfortable, and also you can be communicating honestly about what it is that you can do, can't do, and when you can deliver it. Because there's nothing worse than making a promise to a client and not being able to deliver on that promise. So think about your calendar and think about your workload. Number 3 is aesthetic. So does your design aesthetic really align with the client's needs? So we all know that it's not about just creating the best looking design or what you think is the best looking design. It's about what the customer of the client needs. So what is the kind of business that client is in? And does your particular design aesthetic or the type of work that you do align with the work that your client needs? Now, if you're really hungry for work, you're going to want to say, yes, I can do anything, and adjust my style to anything. But that's not always absolutely the case, and you really need to be honest with yourself. Are you going to be able to do the best work that you can for that client? And is that work going to perform for that client in the best way possible? So think about your aesthetic and be prepared to communicate how your aesthetic will work or will benefit the client, because they may be asking about that. Number 4 is RTBs, or reasons to believe. What are your credentials? Essentially, how can you get the client to believe that you're the right person for the job? Now, this can be your portfolio, so the work that you have in your portfolio that you can show the client. And I highly suggest that you actually walk them through your portfolio and talk to them about the work that you've developed and give it a little more color and clarity and story for them, so they can develop an understanding of how you think and how you've solved other clients' problems. It also could be things like a blog or a vlog or articles that you've written or posted that show that you're a thought leader, that you think about design, that you parse in your mind how to address clients' problems, and that can also elevate the level of credibility that you have with the client. Number 5 is design process. So the client might ask, what's your design process? Do you have a very kind of set process that you go through, a discovery process, a kind of questioning process, a strategy process, an ideation process? Do you do sketches? Do you do storyboards? Do you go straight to design? How do you generally work with clients? Do you have, kind of a first interview that you do with the client to try to parse out what the questions are and the challenges are of their business that they want to solve with design? So be prepared to talk about what your particular process is like with the client. So number 6 is client feedback or references. So do you have any references whose names and numbers you can give to your prospective client so they can call them and actually get some feedback on what it was like to work with you and whether the work you did for previous clients were successful? Could you provide them with quotes or verbatims of previous clients of things they've said about you that can give them a higher comfort level that you'd be the person to work with? When you work with clients, after you're done working with them, always ask them for a verbatim or a quote about you and what it was like to work with you, that they can just send you in an email. Take a piece of that quote and post it on your website, or keep it in your back pocket exactly for those reasons of when you're working with a new client, and you can say, so and so, and I did these pieces that are in my portfolio, said this about me, or said this was the best part of working with me. That kind of thing is what really adds a comfort level to prospective clients, and also allows you to charge what you're worth. And when clients have a comfort level with you, that they're going to get great work with you and that it's going to be a positive experience in working with you, they're going to be much more apt to agree to your fees. So keep that in mind as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video from beautiful St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. If you did, please hit subscribe below so you can see my videos when they come out. And in the description, there's a link to Brand Muse, which is my newsletter. It comes out every 2 weeks, and I share an insight, recommended articles, resources on graphic design and entrepreneurship, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So please subscribe to that. And with that, thanks again for watching. Bye for now.